I am frustrated, AM Hoops, because I put out on the channel that I would debate anybody about any NBA topic, and all I got was 3 Warrior fans who came with insane arguments, and it proves how crazy Warrior fans actually are. So the first guy I debated was Jack, who actually thinks that even without a big Bradley Beal level trade, the Warriors can still win the chip.
They have history here. The Warriors have gone through it. And they have that chemistry unlike any other team. And they got the biggest chip on their shoulders. And they got Klay coming back. It's going to be a boost of motivation. Oh, because we can't forget about Wiggins. Wiggins is another great player, too. I mean, he just had a comeback season. Like, he was putting up, 19 points, something like that? And then you got Kuminga, Moody, you have Poole, the Human Torch off the bench.
Two things that you referenced were history and motivation. Okay, those things don't win in the NBA, especially in the postseason. History doesn't win, and you know that. Number 2, motivation is so overblown by individual fan bases. They look at their team and say, we have motivation. Our role players are great. It's like, guess what? No, every other team has motivation. All their role players are pretty good too. If all it took was them getting pissed off and enough with this losing, they would have done that last year, but they couldn't.
Look at the 4 right now. 4 starters. I mean, Curry, Dre, Wiggins, they'll be good. Then Klay, who's gonna do well, hopefully. I mean,
right. But not enough to win a championship, though.
I think that, you know how we waved Smiley Geach? I think that was what we needed. I mean, now we're gonna be great. That was what You're our favorite basketball YouTuber. Keep it up.
Thanks. No, you're behind Kenny.
No. Hey.
Oh yeah, no. No, Kenny's legit. Kenny's legit too. So I'll take that. No, but I'll take that though. I'll take that. I will give Jack points for the Smiley Geach argument at the end. That was really good. Also bonus points for his little brother there in the background. But I think it's pretty clear I dominated Jack in that argument. The Warriors will not win, especially if they don't have a gigantic superstar level trade, which I say on the channel all the time. Our next guy comes all the way from Brazil. His name is Zed. And Zed, the Warriors fan, believes that Stephen Curry is the greatest offensive player of all time.
He's very good at dribble. He's very good at passing. He's an insane shooter. He's very good at layups. And his gravity opens so much space for every teammate he has.
Kevin Durant is so unstoppable because he's a 7-footer with point guard skills. If you just had a team with Kevin Durant on it, they would go a lot further than that exact same team if you swapped KD with Steph. And I'm only talking down to his offense. That is why.
I think Steph proved this last season that even with a pretty mediocre team, he can do great things.
Oh, he can do great things. No, I'm not saying he's not a great player. He's a fantastic player. MJ didn't hit as many threes. That is true, but that's just not what his era was. And I definitely give Steph credit for reinventing the game and for changing the game. But I think if we're talking just sheer offensive talent, Michael Jordan was better and would be ranked higher than Steph Curry.
The thing is, Steph, I think the other part of the argument is that his gravity is better for the playmaking than most of true point guards' assists ratio.
You don't think that Michael Jordan would have unbelievable gravity as well?
In this
Michael
era,
Jordan, in any era.
I think, yeah.
He would. Steph, KD, Michael Jordan, or Kareem. And you only could pick one player to build your team around. Kareem, Michael Jordan, Kevin Durant, or Steph Curry. Who would you pick?
So I keep my opinion. I will pick Steph Curry.
You're going to pick Steph Curry over KD? And
just for offense. Just for offense.
Wow,
but if I think about defense, I obviously would pick someone else.
I dominated that one as well. Steph Curry is not the greatest offensive player of all time. Of course, we're not degrading Stephen Curry. He's one of the greatest offensive players of all time. First ballot Hall of Famer, everything else. But there are better guys in NBA history. So that is 2-0 so far for AM Hoops. So let's go to our third challenger. His name is Aaron. Very smart guy. He had a very good argument. But what he said, what he brought to the table, was that Draymond Green is clearly a more valuable player than Klay Thompson. Before we get to the third argument, today is the final day to sign up for AM Hoops Plus. If you go to it tomorrow, you won't be able to sign up. You'll have 10 times more fun as an NBA fan. It is a troll-free community to debate about the NBA, discuss it. We hang out on Zoom. I'm there all the time. And also a tool to help you go from a casual NBA fan to an expert with the free GM workshop.
Draymond Green has several things in his corner. Number one, he's a great playmaker. Yes. Number two, he's a good defender. Yes. And number three, he's a great leader, right? But I think that leadership is a much more replaceable skill than what Klay brings. Klay is either the first or second best shooter of all time.
I don't think it is replaceable at all. Like, can you name one other Draymond Green in the league?
I mean, look, Ben Simmons comes to mind. Ben Simmons is not a great leader, and I know that. Draymond Green is not a good shooter either. I think that if you put Klay Thompson on his own team, I think that that team would go further than Draymond's own team.
I don't think Klay Thompson's carrying a team of G Leaguers and, D'Angelo Russell either, though. That was a horrible team. Draymond Green is essentially guaranteeing you a top 5 defense. This year, the Warriors had the 5th best defensive rating in the NBA. That's 110.1, and that was without having a single positive defender other than Draymond, Wiggins, and Oubre. Remember, that's top 5 in the league. You know, Draymond Green ended up with, 3rd place in Defensive Player of the Year votes. That's above Bam Adebayo, Drew Holiday.
I agree, but I think that defense is a lot less valuable in the NBA today. And if we're talking defense, Klay Thompson can defend. He's one of the better perimeter defenders. So at least he can match some of what Draymond does on the defensive end. But the identity of the Warriors would not be close to what it is without Klay Thompson. Klay historically is one of the greatest shooters of all time. But when we're talking dynasty, you need that historic element. And Klay is he is historically good at what he does.
No, I don't disagree that Klay Thompson was historic or anything you're saying about Klay. In fact, do you remember that death lineup? That was so lethal in that it would play most centers off the floor because they were unable to keep up with Draymond. It was so bad that it was forcing teams into their own small ball lineups, which they did not have the personnel to do so. Not every team has a Robert Covington, PJ Tucker, Aaron Gordon, who's a power forward who can effectively play center and keep up with their guys.
Don't you think in 2021 basketball, you need someone who can be elite offensively the way that Klay is? And again, get 60 points in 29 minutes, 37 points in 12 minutes. Don't you think that that skill set is more valuable in today's NBA?
No. It's much easier to game plan for a catch and shoot player than it is for someone who's going to make sure that everything you're doing offensively is shut down. The reason he was able to get such good looks is because A, Steph's gravity made it very hard to put a help defender anywhere near Klay, and B, Draymond's playmaking was getting him the ball.
Right. Then why wasn't Draymond doing it?
If
it's so easy, and if it's just because
it's not easy.
It's just because Steph's got the gravity and Draymond is doing his thing, then why wasn't Draymond scoring like that? Ever.
That wasn't his role. He was a playmaker.
I mean, look, if Draymond was hot, they're going to run plays through Draymond as well. He just doesn't get that hot. He doesn't, because that's not in his bag.
Maybe it could have been back when he was peak Draymond, but I think the most effective play for the Warriors to run is one where you've got Draymond Green as the playmaker. So you don't get an opportunity for that, because why would you ever choose to put the ball in Draymond Green's hands for a shot when you've got Steph Curry and even Klay Thompson there too?
Right, because of the gravity of Steph and Klay, because you would think that Draymond would get more open shots. Draymond Green is a horrible three-point shooter, except for that 1 year where he shot like 38%. Draymond Green isn't a subpar offensive player in terms of scoring the ball just because that's not his role. That's not his skill set. But Klay obviously can be, and that's what I mean by carrying an offense. Klay has that skill set, as well as good on-ball defense.
Do you remember that 2018 series against the Rockets? The 27 threes is not why they lost those last 2 games. That was Draymond Green.
I'm sorry, missing 27 threes is not why they lost that game? It clearly is. Did you watch the USA-France game? In the final 5 minutes, we missed like 6 threes in a row. And you could say it was down to Rudy Gobert, because Rudy Gobert is a good defender. But the truth is, if we make 2 of those threes, we win. So for you to say that the Rockets lost that series just because, and missing the 27 threes is not the reason why, to me that's crazy.
I'll tell you why. Mike D'Antoni, an offensive genius, he had mastered the pick and roll, and they would use multiple forms of the pick and roll between James Harden and Clint Capella to get a center on James Harden. That's where they would get their points, because James Harden is an elite 3-level scorer and a playmaker, so it's very hard to guard him, especially with a slower center on him. As soon as the Warriors reverted to their death lineup, you've got Draymond Green on James Harden, and that did not work.
Aaron had some very good points, okay? But I still think that Klay Thompson is more valuable historically than Draymond Green, and I think I won that argument too. So it'd be AM Hoops 3, Warrior fans 0. Tell me what you think in the comments, who won each argument. I think we'll do that again because that was fun, but you better bring it next time.